All right, welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Let's talk about the DMV. It can be a bit of a headache for a lot of folks going to the DMV. But lawmakers are looking at options to a big point of contention is wait times.
Of course.
But lawmakers are looking to do something about it. And that's why we have WCNC Charlotte's Julie Kay here to talk about what lawmakers are doing. Right now, they're still in that meeting, that committee meeting.
It's so long. Every time.
It is.
It started at 1.
The DMV has a lot of issues.
It does. They're doing a good job. Everyone's got a lot to say. It's a very important issue, but I've been sitting in there listening to it for an hour and a half.
There's been, over the years, especially over the last few years, there have been efforts to correct whatever is going on when it comes to wait times, when it comes to a list of things happening within the DMV. And that discussion continues.
Yeah.
Like, where are they right now when it comes to fixing what's happening with the DMV?
So this all is, and this is the Government Efficiency Committee, which is our version at the state level of like DOGE, what the Trump administration is doing at the federal level. So the state Republicans created this committee to do things like this. I was back here a few weeks ago to talk about maybe potentially privatizing liquor sales in the state. So this is not uncommon. This does not surprise me that they took this one on, but this stemmed from an August report from State Auditor Dave Bullock, who basically encouraged the separation of the DMV from NC DOT, or the Department of Transportation. Right now they are together, but in his kind of investigation into why are these lines so long, why can no one get an appointment, he said that this is a dysfunctional partnership between the two of them. So, for example, I think it was, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, something like 30% of the DOT's some form of revenue comes from the DMV, whereas only like less than 10%, less than 5%, I think, go back to the DMV. And so they're making a lot more money. Basically what it boils down to is the DMV is making a lot more money for DOT than DOT is spending on DMV.
Right.
And so that is kind of the whole debacle of funding. Where should it go? Why isn't it going certain places? Would that really fix it? And so the argument that was made by representatives from the state auditor's office, which they weren't necessarily the people that were there, Dave Bullock wasn't there, weren't necessarily saying, yes, you should do that. That was more straight from the auditor himself. They were more saying, these are the reasons why we don't think this partnership as it stands right now is working. Because if you talk to someone who works at a DMV, bless them. I mean, goodness, imagine being in charge of those long lines when you go. It's a mess, and you're having to deal with all this paperwork. Problems we're not getting paid enough. I have to work weekends. Like, I'm getting my PTO denied. We haven't gotten new uniforms in 5-something years. I'm nervous for my safety because we've had security threats.
And a lot of those folks are pleasant, too. They are so nice.
They're so nice.
So nice.
So many of them, and they're dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
And so that's part of it too, is how much can you even take on when you're already up to here in terms of stress, and if a lot of them say not getting paid adequately or compensated adequately in multiple senses of the word. And so that they're saying is kind of compounding this. Also, of course, the shortage of staff in general. Not a whole lot of people applying to work at the DMV when all these problems are happening right now. And so that was the argument made. Meanwhile, the DMV and the DOT, they're saying, well, we have already made some changes. Like, yes, we acknowledge these problems, but we've already done some things to kind of ease it. Like, for example, there's a new law that says you can do some people can do their license renewals online, and so that takes out a whole chunk of people in the line. I talked to someone today doing a license renewal at the South Charlotte facility, so they weren't aware of that, but that's also brand new, and so how would you know? But they're saying these things, when people start to become more aware of them, will ease up a lot of that. And so they're saying, you don't need to do this, we're already doing other things. And then the other people are saying, it's too late, we already are kind of in this situation. So it's a big back and forth. I don't think any big decision could be even made today.
Right.
This is just a committee, but it is the first step towards something like this happening.
You did head to the DMV. You talked about some of those frustrations. You talked to one woman out there? A woman out there. What did she have? Well, I guess what was she there for? What was her experience like?
So ironically, we went to the closest DMV, as you do, one in South Charlotte. I didn't see a line. I thought that was hilarious.
For real?
Oh,
I
really?
know. Well, we were even like, we'll take video of the long line. Nothing. It was the first time I've ever been to a DMV and not seen a line. So I was like, maybe it is. Maybe it is working.
Wild.
I know. But we got lucky. Asada is her name, Asada Jackson, decided to talk to us. She was coming out, and I just grabbed her. I was like, hey, what are you here for? She said, I just turned 18 this week. I'm getting my new license. Of course, you got to get the new one.
Oh, wow.
I know. And she said, this was a really smooth experience. Obviously, no appointment. I walked in. Kind of in and out. Obviously, like, she did have to go wait in her car for a bit because she got, put her name on the list. But she's like, at least I get to wait in my car. It's cold outside. I'd rather just do it in my car. But I think she said, there's no line. I don't expect to be here for too long. However, she said 2 years ago when she turned 16 and she was getting her license in general, she was at the DMV for 6 hours.
Yeah. That sounds more like
That's more like
Yeah.
the experience. And she said, I don't think that has been solved. I think that she specifically chose this DMV thinking the lines would be shorter because the last one she went to was in Huntersville. She also chose the time of day. We were there on a Wednesday, kind of mid-morning, and everyone else is at work.
Folks are at work, school.
Yeah.
Right. And so she's like, I have the, I'm kind of lucky that I can do this right now, but like I can't imagine being here on a weekend, especially at like one like the Huntersville or ones that get a little bit more busy. So she said it's not a perfect system. She thinks that because of her experience, things have gotten a little bit better. But for her friends that are also turning 18 right now and have to do the same thing, they might be in for a different experience.
My mom went to the DMV recently, and she had a similar experience where
Really?
they were in High Point, and I think she went to one of the DMV locations in Winston, which is about 20 minutes away. She had a similar experience as Asada. Like it was pretty smooth, and I was warning her like, "Hey, it might be a longer way. Just be prepared." And she was in and out. So we're hearing these stories, kind of conflicting with some of the stuff that we've heard in the past about the DMV.
Well, it sounds like the whole you can renew your license online is going well. It sounds like they've had thousands of people already do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if that is part of, things have kind of eased up a bit because that is a big chunk of people. So I'm curious if we get some updated numbers on that soon once we kind of hit like a month, 6 months out to see if that really has been a huge improvement. That still doesn't necessarily fix the problems that the DMV workers are kind of sounding the alarm on. And so there's still pieces of this, even if that does solve a bit of the wait time issue, still pieces that need to be solved.
Oh man, now I'm dating myself. I remember years ago when I got my driver's license or going through the permit process. It was first come, first serve at the DMV.
Yeah.
And even if there was a long line, the wait wasn't even longer than an hour at the DMV.
Yeah.
It was such a quick process. So much has changed
Sure.
in those years, but it's just see it evolve. It's mind blowing.
I have, at this point, had quite a few different state driver's licenses because I've moved around a lot. I've had Illinois, Ohio, Michigan, and now North Carolina. By far the worst experience I've had was here. It was about a year and a half ago, and I just assumed it would be like everything else.
Yeah.
I would just show up. I was working nights at that point and didn't have to be until 3. I was like, I can show up at 10 a.m. No, I can't.
Right.
So it took me a couple tries to go back, and because I was like, I'm not waiting for 6 hours. I just kept going back every day, seeing if it was shorter. And I got lucky one day. So it really just depends on timing.
Yeah.
But
You got to catch it at the right time.
Right.
You got to catch the DMV at the right, and it depends on the location as well.
Also, be nice to the employees.
Yeah,
Please.
be nice,
Please, we
Pleasant
know
folks.
the DMV is frustrating. Most people, unless you're a teenager getting your license, most people are in a bad mood when you go to the DMV because you don't want to be there.
you know what to do.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Be nice to these people. They're short-staffed.
Yeah, they're dealing with a lot right now. Julie, when can we catch your story tonight?
4 and 5:30.
4 and 5:30. Julie, thank you for your time as always.
Hopefully the meeting will be over by then.
Hopefully,
Who's to
I'm looking
say?
at my watch now, 2:43. So hopefully the meeting's over soon.
Hopefully, yeah.
All right, thank you, Julie.